Hey everyone, Temporal here, and today we are reviewing Shy's game. Specifically, we are looking at his Blizzard world in the matchup against the Gungzo Charge. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that both helps me out a lot and tells me that you guys like this type of content and I should do more of it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, all that good stuff. But here we are going to be reviewing Shy's play. And as we can see, to start here, his team is running a double bubble with him on the Ashe, so nothing too crazy there. And at the moment, it looks like we're going to see a double bubble from Charge, with Sim perhaps helping them get out of the spawn. And they are running the ball. So he's looking for some poke. He decides not to be up there, looks for the peek on the Widow. It's a little early. Like, if we take a look here, dropping was reasonable. Didn't want to get caught by, the expected place for them to be necessarily. He has teammates up there that already have that angle. Wouldn't have wanted to get caught by the Widow, the TNT that ends up going up there. Then we have this. It's a little shallow. Like, this is a little shallow for what this is and for what he knows is coming. I'm not too worried about, oh, hey, they're not here when he throws it. It's true that they're not here when he throws it, but this needed to be a little bit deeper, because when this is here, we know it's not deep enough. And then he doesn't hold it all, because now we can see where they are, and he just immediately goes for it. And he can't see anyone. Now, he doesn't get the wall hacks that we have, but he can't see anyone, and the only person who this ends up hitting is the Zarya who's bubbled. So that's not really good enough. We didn't really want a one-person TNT. So would have liked to see this thrown a bit further, and, mechanically, yes, he can do that. And then the other thing that we would have liked to see here is, okay, since it is a little shallow, they are still eventually going to want to walk across here, or they're just going to wait for your TNT to go away, which is fine with you. If they wait for your TNT to go away, that's time off the clock, and that's a trade at this distance that you're potentially willing to make. So really could have seen a little better judgment there. Good. Pressure's being put on him, not a big deal. He gets support here. He is going to have to wait for his team to draw a little bit more pressure than they currently are, and that before he can just continuously re-peak this like he is. So I would like him to either change where he's peaking from. We could do this with a shift up to here, or we could go, hey, I'm going to take some time to go over here. Wouldn't necessarily like that. Would be more a fan of just waiting a moment, which it looks like he's now going to do. He's slightly changed his angle. Would like to get a little bit more in terms of, hey, can Guoxei and Architect put a little bit more pressure on them before he necessarily repeaks this. And now we're getting that. We're getting that pressure, which should allow Shy to repeak this. Unfortunate timing. And by unfortunate timing, I mean wrong. Again, I don't really like this rotation. This is a rotation that could have happened if he was getting pressured and his team wasn't ready to go in. But given that Guoxei did, in fact, go in, that was a plenty credible enough distraction for him to repeak, rather than spend this time doing a safe rotation while his monkey is in. Reasonable. He waits till the monkey's moved before shifting to high ground. Checking there is fine. Not going to shift to the high ground. That's a little more interesting. There's less that can punish him for shifting to the high ground at this point. Okay. Retake with your monkey. Don't necessarily need you to, don't really need you to be the one that is the first to peak this. Maybe your team has made a decision that if you don't get a pick, you're not going to contest, which I find unlikely. I suspect that Guoxei is going to contest this, and you really don't need to try to force this yet. Your team doesn't have the resources for you to take a bunch of damage here, or for you to peak when they are all looking this way. Like, we're peaking when they are all looking this way. They have a shield advantage in that Mandu is shielding for Aline here. We don't really want this, and we should have expected that this wasn't something we wanted to peak. Again, that's really a touch early. That time you do let it tick out, which I prefer in this situation, since you're throwing it early. Mm-hmm. You see that. Do you care? Fine. Held that angle reasonably. Good. Immediately trigger that. Unpeak. Good. Changing the angle. You go here, you go for this, you've changed your angle so you can peek this without your team creating a credible distraction, and you do, and it takes her a moment to adjust to look at you, and so you do effectively get your first shot option on her. Don't get enough, so you move. Yeah, that's fine. Would still like us to get a peek that's timed around team aggression. Mm-hmm. That's not a great TNT. It's going to be okay. This is fine. This is great. We're following up. No one's paying attention to us. We'll happily follow up on what's here. We see that the Ashe is coming in. That's fine. But we throw our TNT here. And it's not totally clear to me why we're throwing our TNT here. Like, this was always going to be deeper than we wanted, not really where we wanted it. It either needed to be like a, hey, we're interested in the cart, we're trying to get it deeper, which was going to be really hard, or we're throwing it a little further to the right where it's surrounded this doorway. Because it's not going to hurt our teammates, but it is going to hurt them if they try to push our teammates, which is good. So the things that we were interested in are you going to push our teammates or are you going to push the cart? With the TNT, you have to have some level of prediction of where they're going to go, and obviously the TNT moves a lot slower than bullets do. You know, your bullets are hit scan, your bullets traveling instantly. So you need to be a little bit more leading with those. You need to lead with those with the TNT in the first place, and that leads to a place of, hey, are you going to go here? Are you going to go here? Those are both reasonable. Just sort of straight and too deep while we're at it isn't really what we want to do. Peeking a touch early. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, we always knew that was going to get slept, but it does give your team a window to go in if they want. Mm-hmm.
I need healing. My ultimate is charging. I'll take care of you.
Yep. Generally doing a good job of changing angles a lot, which we like to see. Changing angles when other people start paying attention to him, that's working out nicely. It gives Shy the opportunity to take the first shot, either at the opposing team or at the opposing hit scan or opposing poke DPS who would be marking him. So that is helping, and he's got pretty good accuracy behind those first shots when he's going for them. So we like to see that. Less a fan of his TNT timings. They're consistently early. He needs to be able to aim those a little bit better, both in sense of a, hey, these need to go deeper, and a better prediction of, hey, where's this Winston going to go? Hey, when are these people going to come through? Etc. Going to move. Pretty predictable angle that he retreated to here. And he doesn't want to use his Brig Shield, it seems. There we go. That was a better TNT. Staying here, you'll note he's here where the sightline is protecting him from these guys as he challenges the monkey, so that's good. Okay. effective how he's transitioning between fires here. So here we are. Getting in some reloads, goes for this, is going for the hip fires, and hip fires as you do a bunch of them start to lose accuracy, so it shifts into the scope fire there to maintain accuracy before going back here and then doing it again. He's not actually looking to get headshots with really with those shots a ton. He's really just looking for, hey, I want to pump damage into you, but he is correctly understanding that he needs to shift between them to effectively reset his accuracy. Do you have good info that there's something there? Like, your team's eyeballs, even if your comms aren't good, your team's, oh, I don't have my Epic Pen open. Your team's eyeballs are all pointing down here. I don't think you've got a great reason to believe something is here. It's not a terrible TNT. It's not. But I don't love it. Okay. Okay, we can draw. We're happy. Changing angles again. There's the Bob. Are we going to answer with our own Bob? I mean, again, it's okay, but with these TNTs, we really want to lead a little bit more, where we go closer to this doorway, so we're certain we're going to get them if they retreat in, or we try to go a little bit further back because we think they're going to retreat. So, like, if we look at this, we see... Here we go. Those are our shots. And then we just throw the TNT to the exact same spot where we're already shooting them. That's not how TNT works. TNT is a projectile rather than hit scan. It has real travel time, and we don't necessarily want to do that. Like, we look at this, so look at we did this, etc. Unsurprisingly, it doesn't get the Zarya. We do need to take a read or take a guess, estimate, whatever, of where they're going to go. And we could have made 3 very reasonable guesses. We could have said, hey, they're going to retreat because I'm shooting at them. They're going to push forward to cart, or they're going to go into cover. And you have to do this. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to throw it here. Like, you can, but that is not how you do projectiles, and any projectile player will tell you that. Okay, that's fine. Back to this. Changing angles. So, I don't love that. Like, yes, he wants to throw out some ult power. They lost MCD. I get it. There's a lot going on in there, and he is probably going to take down Rio in this. So, this isn't a great Bob. This is in here, but the problem is his team can't really follow up on this. Like, if a team gets to 1v5 a Bob, the Bob is going to do basically nothing to them. And that's what's being allowed to happen here. You want Bob to create a crossfire for you. You do not want it to be a situation, though, where the opposing team can go, hey, we can 5v1 the Bob. We can 5v2 the Bob. You don't want them to have those situations because Bob is not that challenging to deal with if you're allowed to use your resources on him. Your Winston Bubble, your Briggs Bash, your Anna Sleep, your Zarya Bubbles. If you're allowed to use these resources to deal with Bob, and you can stabilize afterwards, very not punishing whatsoever to deal with a Bob. Not very threatening. If Bob becomes the 7th man where he's giving you another angle, doing damage, maybe he's giving some point pressure, things like that, forcing another angle, and it's like, wait, we're already using our Winston Bubble over here. We've already trying to want to be able to use our Sleep to defend against the Winston. We've already got, to worry about angles here for threats that our Brig is respecting, or, this cover is helping us against this angle over here, and it's not helping us against the Bob. That's when Bob is effective. This Bob is into a deep place where there's just not enough threats on this team. Yes, again, I do expect that Rio is probably going to go down here, though that's to the shy follow-up shot, not to the Bob. But these guys back here, they're going to be just fine. These guys just back here, are going to be just fine. The Bob will be dealt with. The Bob will potentially be stunned or knocked away, or they'll rotate in here where the Bob can't see them, or they'll go upstairs where the Bob can't see them. It might be we're going to whip shot the Bob away. It might be we sleep the Bob, and while the Bob is whip shotted away, it's very easy for them to rotate up here without the Bobs having a sight line on them, and then they go do this. So this was not particularly good. Yes, I can see that we have the Nano Winston going in. That makes this less bad. Yes, I know we have the one follow-up shot that we're going to be able to make, but Bernard is going to be late to helping in this party. Bernard's going to be late to helping with this party, and Guixe has already used Leap, has already used Bubble. This isn't great. It's not bad, but it's like a 6 out of 10 Bob. What? Yep, that goes down as we expected. You turn here, you go for that, and you throw the TNT. And we're throwing the TNT. Yeah, that's a reasonable enough depth. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. Yep, that was better. And what made that better So we're throwing this now. I know what's actually happening. This is Shy throwing the TNT at the crosshair and throwing the TNT where his crosshair was, which was on the Ana, which it's not actually aiming the TNT any differently. But in this case, it's good to throw the TNT like this because this is as far over as you can get it. You expect the Ana to retreat this way, and this is literally as far over as Shy can get the TNT. So this is good. That said, it's not demonstrating a correction in the TNT usage. It's just, whoops, this happens to be doing it right. That was interesting. Not completely sure we wanted to force that. You guys see, it's just force of habit at that point. The inaccurate shots would have been fine against the bubble, but it's just force of habit to go for the scope to reset the spread there. Which is a good habit to have. Even if technically wrong and a little slower in that case. Mm-hmm. What do you think they are? We have wall hacks, he doesn't. And that was also too shallow. I want to point both of these things out. I don't think this was I think someone's right here. I think this was I think people are going to come through here to get the cart. And this TNT was blown up too shallow for that. Needed to just let it go, not just do the throw, throw and hold down M1 and then it blows up, because if you just throw TNT in a straight line and M1 it, you will blow it up as long as it doesn't hit anything. Needed to just let it be thrown and then actually aim to blow it up here, or let it sit here if you don't think anyone is here and you want it to just be a deterrent because you were throwing it hoping someone would be there and then they're not. So you just go, nope, I'll let it be a deterrent to go there. But so be it. Okay. Here we are. No. Again, we might think that people are coming out here and throw a TNT here. We might infer that there's someone either over here and throw our TNT here or here because of it. But just here, there's no. This is not where we would throw our TNT. And that's not acting as a very good deterrent to keep people away. It would have been much better from the previous angle to have gotten the TNT down here as the deterrent to keep people from coming out, because you do know that they're in there, at least some of them. Yep, that's fine. I mean, this is Al. I should maybe be a little more critical than that. Okay, so here we are. You go for that. You go for that. You change your angle. You change your angle back. It's reasonable. You respond to Aline pushing you there with shots. You shift to move yourself, and you realize you've got absolutely nowhere to go and no health and no cooldowns down. Staring at the ground still doesn't really help you. Like, I get it. You're trying to change where your head hitbox is. I completely do understand. You do turn away. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You turned away. Mm-hmm.
Heal up.
60 seconds remaining.
Bob, do something.
I don't necessarily love the advancement here. No cover, just kind of walking forward, taking shots. No plan of where your new cover is. You've just sort of stopped here in the open with no cover anywhere near you. Is your plan you're going to advance to here and use this? Was your plan, hey, I can play from here? That might have been an option. Is your thought, I need to be close so I can touch point? I just don't care. If it comes down to your job to touch point, your team is going to lose the point. So, like, I don't need you to go stand, like, the rotation of I'm just going to slow walk it up here while taking shots and then just sort of wait here where there's nowhere for me to go if people pressure me, if the other Ashe takes a bead on me, if the Winston jumps on me. Like, I have no cover, and a shift to cover isn't really going to be that great. A shift in this direction becomes the best option, and it's not an amazing one. Not great. This could have been a, hey, I advance and then I work my way over here, and then I'm playing from here where I've got the sight line, and I can peek here to shoot down that sight line. I can go here. I can decide if I want to shift up here. This would have been better, but sort of planting in this general vicinity isn't going to work. And again, it looks like we started to go over here. That had some promise, but now we're opening this angle back up while reloading. Okay. And now you're swapping to touch cart. That's fine. Okay.
My ultimate is charged.
Not my favorite. Cleaned it up at the end there in terms of their rotation, but not my favorite. Okay, so here we are. Pushing up here. Do throw that at the very edge, which is the right thing to do, though it's way too deep at this point.
My ultimate
Not sure what the thought was here. Oh, you wanted to shift in to take it. That's very aggressive, but you do have rally armor. I like it. But the problem is the Tracer shows up. You have a friend, so you believe this is reasonable. They have a friend too. And then you get pulled. Yeah, the pulse bomb goes off. Yeah, I'm not going to blame that too much. I'm not going to be too worried about that happening.
30 seconds remaining.
They are running out of time. We must hold them back. Bob, do something.
We have our Bob.
Bob, do something.
It's effectively got the same angle as your Zarya. It's not going to anchor point. It's not going to punch through anyone on its way in. No thank you. That's not anchoring point. It's not an amazing angle. I don't like this. I would have literally rather thrown this into cart. At least there it would have had the angle to go like that, and it would have anchored cart for you. You could have maybe thrown it in here, but I don't like this. This can't shoot into here. It's too easy to literally go eh, eh. Not that they've got time to do that because there's too many other threats, but that's not a great Bob. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. You're challenging. This is, again, just sort of in the open without a good reason. Shouldn't really be here. Could afford to be here where you have the option to peek. Could be working your way over to here where you can pop up to here and do work. Don't really like you just chilling in the open here. That was predictive. Yeah. I would have preferred that tucked a little further to the right. So threw this TNT out when Elaine was back here, and that's fine. It was predictive that this was the new angle that was going to be peaked, and that was a good guess, but it's not the right spot. It wanted to be tighter on this most likely. Now, maybe it was the thought that no, I think that they're going to peak it with a shift, which is what they did. So it being further over is correct. In that case, it wasn't actually quite enough. But the only reason that you'd throw this TNT here is if you thought the peak was going to be a shift peak, which is what it ended up being. I probably would have said no, air it to the right. Yes, it ended up being a shift peak. Didn't end up getting the mirror. Yeah, didn't end up getting. Oh no, it did end up getting. I didn't think that fire caught. It just barely caught. Cool, cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, peek your angle. Don't wait in the open. Where are you rotating to? Okay. Still not amazing. Better. And are you going to commit your TNT into that? Like, it's okay to shoot at this and then get your TNT at the edge over here. Okay. Reasonable. I'm a little surprised that we didn't blow up the TNT on the way there. Like, we look at this. Maybe you didn't expect the bubble to be gone yet, so you were trying to throw your TNT there, but like we can just hit our TNT. It's traveling through the air. It's gonna do its work now. This is where we wanted it. So little surprised. And if this isn't quite where we wanted it to go a little further, that's fine. Let it go a little bit further, but you can hit it before it hits the ground. It's worth taking the shot, but no. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's going to break the follow-up so that the follow-up behind the primal isn't significant. And it's going to answer there, Bob. Sure. Mm-hmm. Change your angle. Better. You didn't get your shot off. Unfortunate. Not the angle change I'd have gone for. I'd have recommended this angle change. I think you'd have had plenty of good stuff from there, but this works. Yeah, okay. I didn't actually care that much about the monkey. I think you would be better off getting another TNT over here, and maybe that's exactly what you'll do once the bubbles part way over. Why? Why is your TNT that far over? No. No. Drag it here. You want it to blow up like here-ish. That was the most scary to people who were potentially coming around the wall. You don't want it all the way over here. That's your it's got a spherical type explosion, and your sphere is better if you have it at a height where, you're effectively where you're going to get further people on the edge if you have it at a height where people actually are instead of up in the air there, which is where you have to blow, which is where it looks like you're going to blow this one up. No, you do let it drop. Still would have preferred it further to the right. I think that would have been more threatening to the team, but you did get the brig there, so we're happy. And did you get Kareev as well? No, you did not. Okay. Okay. Let's see how round 2 goes. From round 1, we definitely see more thought can be put into these TNTs. It may just be a case of Shy going, no, I don't want to spend any time flicking away to throw the TNT because I want to be shooting again and I want to do this and that, but flicking doesn't really take time. Flick, throw the TNT appropriately, and then aim back. We could also see a bit of an upgrade with the bobs. None of the bobs have been better than like a 7 out of 10. They've been pretty okay bobs. So would like to see a little bit more there in terms of, hey, this isn't a bob that the team gets to spend 4 people to deal with or can deal with from pretty safe spots for most of their team. You want it to be they have to deal with the bob and us at the same time. If they're choosing to deal with the bob, they can't do so without also dealing with our team. Or the bob is doing purposes for us. It's giving us that angle. Maybe it's contesting the point. Maybe it got a lot of damage on its run through of people. Like, we'd like to be getting a little more out of our bobs than we are. Definitely doing things well with the taking of different angles, understanding when can and can't peak, as well as the coach gun usage is fine. So plenty that's going right here. This is not me being overly critical. Oh, Shy, how terrible. No, Shy is a good player. There's a reason that they're in Overwatch League. But we do see some room for improvement. Let's see how things continue. Don't need to repeat this. Don't really need to do this. I want you to be ready to peek, and that's shallow. Yes, we would like to be able to TNT this. That would be a very good thing to TNT. That's not nearly deep enough. We want to TNT this. We want to TNT the platform. This is shallow of the platform. This isn't good enough. We can adjust to make it good enough. We can either get closer or aim a little higher to make our arc a little different, which makes it harder to hit, sure, but still perfectly doable for a hit scan of Shy's caliber. Okay. Now exchange our angle. Good. Not sure why we hesitate here to flick up and take the shot. Better, but will you blow up your TNT? No, you're just letting it be on a timer. Okay. I don't know about this one. You guys are up, don't get me wrong, but you can't really convert this to full brawl phase because not enough of you can get up here. Like, yes, you've got your Tracer here. Yes, you've got your Winston here. Your Zarya's trying to throw up right clicks. These guys really can't get up there rather than projecting their help. I would have said don't do this, but hey. Yeah, and predictably you have to immediately drop, and you are requiring healing from your team right now. They are giving it to you, fortunately, but those are resources that we might have liked to use to sustain elsewhere.
Smoke 'em out of there.
You're checking that angle. You know that that's the other angle to check, and in a moment the timing will be such that you'll check the third angle, which is back in this direction. Right? Right? Right, Chai?
Here it comes.
Okay. I don't have an issue with that one. Why have you tucked yourself so far onto point here? You were perfectly happy back here. If you really wanted to get your angle where you have the pillar to use. Don't just go into the middle of the point like this. Wanders away from the TNT. Good. Fine. Okay. So good. Good. We like what we see here. Can we make it better? Yes, we can. We see where Elaine is, and we go, hey, I see that. I see where you are. Only led this a little bit. Probably wanted to lead this more over here as opposed to over here. Am I being nitpicky? Absolutely, I'm being nitpicky. But this is good. And we see where they went is exactly where I thought. Had I just seen them go there? Yeah, I suppose. But it was a more likely path for them in general to go where they went. Mm-hmm.
There's no stopping me once I get into a rhythm. Smoke 'em out of there. So got some meat.
Okay. Taxing this tracer heavily. Okay. TNT to the left now would be a good idea. Okay. Still good. Still good.
Smoke 'em out of there.
Still get it. Fine. Okay. Well, okay, so you are backing into this. Fine. Good. You see the TNT. You answer with your own. And you send the Bob right on through. They have enough ults going to justify that, sure. Keep it honest. Good. Good job. Good Bob. Good retreat from the other Ashe. Reasonable answer with TNT. Are you going to take high ground? Can't really take high ground anymore. You're looking for that. Change the angle again or hold it? Holding it. Interesting. Shift. You're going to hold from here, and then you're going to shift to the right? No, you're going to push up. Okay. So here we are. We see this. We take the shot at the tracer. Again, what we're interested in from the tracer, what we'd expect from the tracer would be potentially pushing this doorway. So could push this doorway. Don't need to put this in the middle of the doorway. Can put this more over here. And even here, it's going to explode in such a way, and I'm talking just inside the doorway here. It's going to explode in such a way that it's going to cover it's going to cover all the way to the left of the doorway. Here, we're effectively wasting space with our TNT, and we're taking away our ability to get a little more over here by pushing this further to the right, as opposed to here, where we'll get like over here, which, hey, let's get more area out of our TNT, because there is some level of I'm guessing where you're going to be going on. Yeah, wanted that to go a little bit further to the right, but still got the tracer, so we're happy. Tracer's being forced to point, makes that easier. Okay. Okay. So that second round was a little one-sided, but we saw some good things here. In terms of what we would prescribe Shy to work on if we were working with Shy, because that's what we're doing here. We're showing the audience what it's like to be like, hey, pro players, what do they have? What do they need to work on? Shy, very good player. Not really a question about that. They know how to play Ashe. They, as I mentioned, we're doing a good job of changing their angles, of taking those first shots on new angles, of going, hey, I can afford to re-peak the angles when my tank is providing an adequate distraction, when someone else is drawing some attention. That was all very good. The shift usage, there was good judgment on, hey, I want to shift away this monkey because he doesn't have bubbles available to protect himself, or, oh shoot, this monkey has a bubble left that could show up to protect him, or I don't know the status of his bubbles, so I'm going to shift to move myself up and away. Like, there was good control of this. There was good understanding of peak timing that we really like. But if we do get into what could Shy work on, well, what Shy could work on the most would be that TNT placement. A little bit of depth control is needed on this TNT placement, which is really going to be, hey, let me arc it a little higher to have it go further. That does mean you have to manually aim at the TNT, but should be plenty capable to do that. Also want a little bit more prediction on where targets are going to be. The TNT is just going straight to where Shy was shooting too often. When the TNT should be treated as the projectile it is, you should lead targets. You should go, I'm going to lead with this, and I'm not trying to hit them directly with the TNT, but I'm trying to hit them with the explosion, and I've got more ability to more consistently doing that if I'm correctly doing a prediction of where they're going to be, as opposed to just throwing the TNT at my crosshair and then trying to pop it. That's especially true when targets are further away, when we've just rounded a corner and we don't know where targets are, as well as when targets have movement abilities, like Tracer. If it's a target that's, pretty close to you and doesn't have movement abilities, yeah, just triggering it where your crosshair is generally going to work. But in these other situations, we get real benefits from going ahead and making sure we're treating our TNT as a projectile and doing the prediction that comes with the territory of playing projectiles. Another thing I'd like to see is cover usage in general isn't necessarily bad. Like, again, Shy is doing a good job of rotating between different places to peak, etc., but seems to sometimes just forget and stand in the open. Not a ton, but seems to just sometimes forget. We saw that at the end of second there, where it's the I'm wandering up, I'm wandering up, I'm wandering up, I'm going to plant here for a second or two, then maybe I'll start to work my way over to cover. No, let me go back into the open. Couple times like that, not a huge issue, but a couple times like that do need to be cleaned up. We don't have to always have cover all the time, but if we don't have cover, it's because we're rotating to a new place. And that might not be obvious because we're taking shots as we're rotating to that new place, but we are actually going, hey, I have a new cover in mind that I'm getting to. I'm not just standing in the open. I'm not just playing in the open. If I'm in the open, it's because I'm going here as I'm getting to a new set of cover. I'm just doing work on the way. And then the third thing that we'd look to upgrade is Bob usage can see a bit more work here. And we talked about this. But when it comes to Bob, we like our Bob to threaten in a different angle. We also like it when our Bob is not in a place to be deal withable without also dealing with threats from multiple of our teammates. And sometimes we saw that, but we didn't see super high levels of that. The sort of bonus, those are the two things that are sort of necessary for Bob. The bonus points for Bob are, does Bob get to run through, uppercut, do damage to people? and or does Bob contest the point? Those are sort of bonus points. Those, are maybe how we get our 9 and 10 Bobs, but those aren't really what I'm worried about. I want to make sure the two fundamentals that I just sort of described for Bob are happening first there, and they're only mostly happening with what we're seeing here. They're not bad Bobs that we're looking at, but there's definitely some room to level those up. So these are the three things that I would want Shy to work on if I were working with Shy directly. And this is what any coach worth their salt should be able to find things, should be able to work with a player like this and go, okay, this is how it works. This is how we go through it. We found things that are potentially weak. Now go ahead and focus on these one at a time to get better at them. And players of OWL caliber are pretty quick at implementing these. So if you guys have questions about this, go ahead and let me know. If you guys have someone that you would like me to review next in OWL, go ahead and put that person and or hero and or combination in the comments below, as that will have some influence over who I do cover next. So that's really cool. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, all that good stuff. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.